azúcar.
My name is Dr. Kent Bradley.
Dr. Bradley, the huge adoption of information technologies helped to make us more conscious, informed, aware society about the importance of health and paying attention to our health. Seems to be like our last priorities. And when you take 5 minutes to listen to experts like you, it comes very clear that our health should be like our priority number one, and then the rest can be accomplished. What do you think on this matter?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I think many people already know that smoking cigarettes is not a healthy endeavor, yet people smoke.
Correct.
In full knowledge that it's not healthy.
Yes.
So why is that? It's an interesting thing. The availability of information doesn't necessarily trigger action. So it doesn't necessarily mean people will get healthier just because information is available.
I'm conscious about the negative impact, but I'm not taking action on stopping it.
There's an interesting theoretical model that has been used called the health belief model.
Okay.
And in the health belief model, it would suggest that in order for a person to take action, they first must believe that that particular evidence, information, is relevant to them.
Okay. I can believe the information, but I might not consider it relevant for me, for my own health.
That's something other people will have to deal with.
Yeah.
But me, I'm not feeling any problems with smoking, so why should I change? Yeah, it's a problem for other people.
Yeah.
You say 80% risk. Well, I'm the 20% that won't be at risk. You know?
I'm the control group always.
So the health belief model suggests that one of the fundamental early issues is that information doesn't result in action because we don't believe it is relevant to me. See, so one of the things that has to begin to happen is we have to make it relevant to you. Sometimes that doesn't happen until somebody in your family gets ill or you start to have symptoms. And of course, we would not want that to ever happen. We'd rather have you believe earlier on that it's relevant to you. So that's a critical part of the journey. How do we make messages more relevant to you? The second is, even if it's relevant, they may feel like the barrier to action is too high.
Okay.
And if the barrier is too high, they almost give up. So imagine somebody who is 400 pounds. They know that they believe it's relevant to them,
of course,
that they should take some action.
Yes.
And they're suffering from hypertension and type 2 diabetes. But maybe the belief that they could actually change it is it seems too insurmountable because maybe they've tried. So that's where we have to lower the barrier. And how do we lower the barrier? It depends on what the topic is. Sometimes it's policy. Sometimes it's a belief about finances. Sometimes it's the environmental changes we can make. And oftentimes it's also a change in one's mindset and a reframing of what is possible. And that's where coaching often comes in. Coaching can help a person change their perception of the barrier and so that they now believe they can take action.
And it's a relevance, again, on the value that community has on all these matters. Doctor, thank you very much for your time. If you allow me, I would like to have one, and it's more a request than a question because you've been very clear, and I really appreciate your patience on explaining all those terms.
Yeah.
But precisely as Director of Health and Nutrition at Herbalife, could you provide practical tips for maintaining optimal cardiovascular health at any stage of life? What habits and dietary changes would you recommend, besides getting close to Herbalife, of course?
Yeah. So my recommendation
Yes,
to maintain or support your cardiovascular health are several fold. One, obviously, is to maintain your weight and your overall lean body mass. Muscle mass is important.
Yes.
Why? Because muscle mass not only helps burn calories, but muscle mass also helps you be able to do the functional activities as you grow older, so you can stay to do number two. Number two is you got to stay active. You have to stay active, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're running or exercising. We know that if you're just staying active, getting your heart rate up a little bit, whether it's gardening but it's got to be sustained. It can't be like 10 minutes. Some depending on your age, you can compress it and do what is called high interval training. But for most people, it's just keep moving. Just keep moving. Get those steps in. So exercise is critically important for cardiovascular health because that's causing your heart to work at an optimal level. The third thing is to make sure that you have a healthy diet that's supportive of your dietary needs, specifically high in antioxidants, as well as a diet that is supportive of your omega-3s. So you have these essential fatty acids, and fish oil, specifically DHA and EPA that comes from fish oil, is a very helpful nutrient for our bodies. So I'd recommend that. Vitamin D is often overlooked, and as we age, vitamin D becomes harder and harder for our bodies to convert from the sun. And there's a lot of increasingly number of people that are deficient in vitamin D, so they should be looking at their vitamin D. The other practical thing that I would so looking at omega-3s, ensuring that you have vitamin D. From a dietary perspective, the other thing that's really important and is lacking in a lot of people's diets is sufficient fiber. Fiber is important for our gut microbiome. Our gut microbiome helps in supporting with metabolites our overall health and our cardiovascular health, but it also helps to bind cholesterol. And when it binds cholesterol, it helps to remove it, so it supports a healthy triglyceride and cholesterol level. So these are all things from a healthy heart perspective, not talking about products, but talking about overall diet changes you could make, keeping active, and then another practical, well, it's not a practical tip, but it's a reality, and that is managing your stress and managing your sleep. Sleep is really important to cardiovascular health, and stress is managing it so that it's you're not overwhelmed by stress. So doing things that are supportive of your overall sense of well-being, helping you manage the stress in your life, whether that is doing exercise is my way of managing stress. It's a gift that has many value. It helps me sleep too. So exercise helps me with my sleep. Exercise helps me manage my stress. But other things like mindfulness, coaching can help you reframe circumstances so you don't perceive everything as such a big threat on your life. Put it in more perspective. Deep breathing, mindfulness techniques, meditation. These are all things you can do. But those are some of the things that come top of mind.
Thank you very much, Doctor. One last thing, I'm sorry, may I?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. But it really calls my attention because one of these recommendations, which might sound a little obvious, but it's not at all, it's stay active. And the question is the following. Having had so much people within society staying at home because of the COVID pandemic and all the problems that we faced with that period of time, has Herbalife detected in groups of people, big groups of people, some impact on health issues? I mean, because we were talking about the beginning of our conversation of the emotional importance and health issues. And we are closing our conversation with like some sort of wrap up that says, keeping your mind healthy is important, keeping your body moving and healthy is important. But we are living in a society right now that it's coming from a dark period of time that we were almost obliged, pushed to suspend almost absolutely our physical activities. And we lost good habits. We managed to acquire new not good habits on sleeping. And so how was the impact that you are reading on post-pandemic
Yeah, in certain regions, we have done surveys of individuals to see, just in general, not specifically to Herbalife, but in general. And there has been an increase in the amount of stress, as well as a decrease in the amount of activity in several of the surveys. And that's not just Herbalife. If you just look at other government bodies, for example, they've done surveys and they know that has happened. But here is the thing. We have a need to belong.
Yeah.
And we have an opportunity to create the norm of behavior, which is really culture, can be summed up in a phrase I like to do is culture is about this is how we do things around here.
Right. Okay.
You know?
Correct.
It's our norms of behavior. So you go to a particular city, you might say, now I know how things are done around here.
Yes.
This is the norms of behavior.
Correct.
Certain norms of behavior occurred that over the pandemic that was almost not forced, but it was caused by an external event that forced us to change our normal behavior. Now that we've come out of that, we have an opportunity to reestablish and improve the norms of behavior.
Correct.
There is nothing to say that what I did yesterday is what I have to do today. And it's often best done in a, not just an individual approach, but in a community approach. So that's why I believe that we should nourish not just our body by giving us the foods we need. You know, we're all about having a healthy breakfast, having a set nutrition plan, but we should nourish our mind, we should nourish our relationships,
yes,
and nourish the community that we are in. Because if the community you're in is not supportive of the healthier behaviors, you may find that you get molded into what that looks like. So find your tribe, find your community. They're out there, and if enough people begin to do that, you'll end up seeing that a much larger community, an entire city, country, could actually begin to change.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for the opportunity of talking to you. It's so exciting what you share with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
I appreciate you taking it.
Diversa. Así funcionan los negocios ahora.
Esta fue una producción de Inco. Derechos reservados.